Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me again for my TBR game. Before I get into how this game works, I just can very quickly say a lot of the books that you see here you probably have seen last month or even the month before. My reading month in April really sucked. Again, I think I failed all the challenges. I was just not in the right headspace yet. I was just dragging a major reading slump after my dad has passed in the middle of March. The funeral, going back to work, a lot of exciting things happening at work that I just had to wrap my head around and make decisions. My son currently doing his final exams in school, and he's moving out July 4th. So it's a whole process, and yeah, right now everything's getting a little bit overwhelming with getting the van ready. Moving out of this apartment is not going quick enough. There's still so much to do. There's still so much to do on the van, and there's a few videos that are still upcoming that take you on that journey with me. But yeah, my reading took a really bad hit. I do need to recover in May. All the books that you see on my left I need to get to. Well, these two are I want to get to them, but these I have to get to, and mostly because in this case the N.K. Jemisin, The City We Became, is an arc that I need to review, and all of the others aside from these two are Once Upon a Book Club books that I need to read so I can open up the gifts, because I don't want to take these gifts on the road with me. Every other book is from the Traveling Book Project Germany, where we are forwarding books after annotating them, and well, not like fully annotating but writing our comments. So I need to read them and forward them. Usually I only have 2 to 4 that I'm reading. Right now it's a lot more because I got so behind and the books kept coming. So yeah, I therefore, because of my current situation and hoping to get back into it but not knowing if I'm gonna get back into it, I'm going to cut down a lot on my commitments to book clubs and read-alongs and all of these things. There's potentially 4 more that I want to get to for like book clubs. Usually it's like 10, but that's like an optional this month. So let's get into the game and let's hope that we can fit all of these into the game. I will be a little bit more lenient about some of the choices that we might want to make today. Okay, so how does the game work? I'm going to pick a duck from the water. The ducks have colors on the bottom, which decides the category or the genre. The genres are color coded. For example, these are purple, and purple means historical fiction. Then we have yellow, and that means out of my comfort zone. So see, it's not a genre, it's a category. And by out of my comfort zone, that can be anything from like horror, short stories, romance, that kind of stuff that I really normally don't like to read that much. Black is sci-fi and ethnofuturism. Red is contemporary, and that also means any type of thriller or whatever, anything that is written in the now. Orange is any type of fantasy. And then last but not least, green is arc. And the green determines when this game is over. I have to pick at least 5 picks, and then I have to pick at least 2 greens. So as soon as I pick 2 greens and we have 5 picks, the game is over. If I do not read all the books from one of these categories, so from one of these colors, I end up having to do a punishment in the next month. Therefore, you can find my TBR game punishment videos. I'm going to link a playlist up there. And that pretty much is all about going out and doing something in the real world and vlogging it. All of these punishments are not something like book buying bans or something. They are things like go out and do something that scares you, do something that pushes you out of your comfort zone. And they're a lot of fun. So definitely go check those out. After picking a category, I also pick a card from my prompts cards, and that can be something like more than 500 pages, or a friend picks a prompt. All of these fun little prompts, and I have to marry the category with a prompt and find a book that matches. Let's go. So the first pick, making sure I don't see the color before I pick it. And the first pick, please be kind to me this time around. I really need a kind month. Orange, fantasy. Fantasy, what's fantasy on this one? I think Circus of Wonders might be fantasy. These two, and obviously Fires of Heaven. so we are doing Buzzword of the Month. So let's find out what Books and Lala's Buzzword of the Month is. Okay, so a book with a direction in the title. So north, south, east, west, left, right, up, down. Is against the direction? Would you consider against the direction word? I think it's probably stretching it to say against is... Okay, let's see in the other ones. We have one in my 22 and 22, which I desperately need to start working on. The Girl with 7 Names, a North Korean defector's story. That's what we're picking. Wait. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's fantasy. I completely forgot that we're looking for a fantasy. And obviously, The Girl with 7 Names is not a fantasy. Okay. Okay, so we'll have to continue looking. So let's go into my series that I need to complete. So after the 22 and 22, my 2 other priorities are get done with arcs. Although I'm a little bit less worried about the ebook arcs because I can really quite well take them into the van and read them there. So my other priority is finish series. Complete series. So let's see what the next ones are that I have in open series, if there's a directional word in one of those. This could be one, the finale to the Ember in the Ashes, a sky beyond the storm, and I think that beyond is a directional word, right? But that's a thick one. I would like to reduce the thick ones. I wanted a kind reading month, so let's continue looking. So the third in the Gold Seer trilogy is Into the Bright Unknown, and into definitely is a directional word. I think this is a big contender because it also would let me finish a series. I have loved the series. I think that this could potentially be a book that brings me back out of my reading slump. So that's a really good contender. The alternative would be Across the Green Grass Fields by Sean McGuire. Continuing in the Wayward Children series, I think could also take me out of my reading slump. And it's a short, quick one. So these are really good contenders. So what I'm going to do, because I said I'm going to be kind to myself, even though I love playing this game and I love torturing myself to some extent. I have so much to do in May and I am not very confident that I'm going to be able to finish a lot of books. So I do need my TBR to be less. Depending on the page numbers that we end up with, I'm going to choose Into the Bright Unknown if it feels okay to add. Let's say something like below 7,000. We're going with Into the Bright Unknown. And if my page number ends up being above 7,000 due to this game and the other commitments, we're going to go with Across the Green Grass Field. All right, let's continue. Let's take this one. And we have purple. Purple for historical fiction. I am definitely in a historical fiction mood. And historical fiction actually works really well on audiobook for me. And contrary to like fantasy and sci-fi, where sometimes it takes a while to get into the world, historical fiction usually takes no time. And if it's a very personal story, I love just following it and it just feels like watching a movie. And listening to it on audiobook and painting is just an amazing thing. So let's find out what we can do with historical fiction from my wish list. Okay, so from my wish list means I have to go literally on my Goodreads wish list, and it means that I cannot pick from the books that I already own. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through my Goodreads wish list, and I'm just going to sort my wish list by lowest number of pages and then see what the first ones are that come up that are historical fiction. So we have one book on the 22 and 22 which is on my wish list and is historical fiction. So that is actually a really good choice. Maybe let's go through my series. Actually, I think that Into the Bright Unknown could be considered historical fiction, right? I mean, it's fantasy, but it's also historical fiction. This one is historical fiction, and it's about the Oregon Trail. diary, which could very well get me out of my reading slump. The House on Mango Street. I think that's historical fiction too. No, it's realistic fiction. So we have the choice of just going off my wish list for a 140 pages Oregon Trail story, or we go with the 22 in 22, which is The Mercies by Karen Millwood Hargrave, or by Into the Bright Unknown by Ray Carson, which is continuing a series. These are good choices. I think we are not going to do the wishlist choice and adding something else that is not completing another challenge of mine that I've set myself for this year. So we have two choices, Into the Bright Unknown or The Mercies. Let's go with The Mercies because I do need to make a dent into my 22 in 22 challenge. All right. Pick number 3. Okay, let's take a yellow duck. This one's looking at me all like, pick me, pick me. And it's red, so we have a contemporary. All right, contemporary. What do we have to do with contemporary? A subscription book box. Oh wait, the Oceanography of the Moon. I think it's a contemporary. Yeah, fiction, romance, contemporary. So we're picking the Oceanography of the Moon. This is the Once Upon a Book Club box of the month of March, I think. So it's the latest that I received. I actually have it right here. And with that box, as I mentioned, come a couple of gifts. We have this sheet where there's a signed book plate, a bookmark. It always comes with a postcard with a quote, and then a sheet of paper that's kind of book clubby and has additional like interview or just sometimes it's recipe, just things that go along with a book. And then we have 4 gifts that bring something out of the book alive. So when you're reading, you have these little post-its saying open your gift now. And the first one is on page 58. I love this concept. I love the gifts that I'm getting here. It's really good quality and it's not all just branded with Sarah J. Maas and Cassandra Clare stuff. So it's just something that an adult woman would most likely enjoy. It can be decoration, it can be useful items, but most of these items I'm actually using. So that has me really excited about this box. A little advertising in here. The box is awesome. They're also very, very friendly. I have had, every time I had problems, they have been so accommodating. And just now my subscription had renewed where I thought I had canceled it. I would love to continue getting it, but because I'm moving out, I don't have a shipping address anymore starting in August. So I can only resubscribe once I have a new shipping address. If I do, they refunded it without a question. That's not an experience I have made with all subscription box services. Let me just put it that way. Pick number 4. Okay, we have read contemporary again. We have a few more on the list. Fingers crossed I can pick one off that list. And friend picks a prompt. Okay, let's see if there's a friend available that can pick a prompt for me. Charlie has agreed to send me a prompt. Dear CC, in this month, please read a book with a 5-word title. I don't think any of the contemporaries here have a 5-word title. Okay, so there's 2 options. Either we are swapping out the subscription box prompt and are using the Oceanography of the Moon, or we have something on our list, but I doubt that there's anything contemporary on my to-read list with 5 words or more. Okay, let me go to my bookshelf and see if I can find either a contemporary to replace the subscription box one or one with 5 words. Okay, so I found 5. Actually, I found 5. This actually is a contemporary from a subscription box with 5 words in the title. So this is an option. And then we have these 4, and I'm actually really in the mood for all of them. I have to double check if this is actually considered contemporary, because it's also like sci-fi. Charlie meets everyone but only once. Sometimes he is sent as a courtesy, sometimes as a warning. Either way, it will be the most important meeting of your life. And I think Charlie is like an apprentice to death or something, or death, or something in that. We have 2 thrillers that I actually would like to mix it up to have a thriller. So these are 2 really good contenders. I would be really in the mood digging into this one. And then I recently purchased this one when I heard about it. I think on one of my last sprints. I know I haven't been sprinting for a while. I have not been in the mindset to go live after my father's passing, to be honest, but I'm hoping to be back soon. And this was mentioned on one of the last lives that I was on, and it just sounded beautiful, about a boy who is experiencing a parent to go through their identity, like realization and finding and everything. So it sounded really, really interesting. And I think that I would love this really a lot. So we have these 5 books that I really would all love to read. And if this one's considered a contemporary, I'm going to do a random number between those 5, and the random number generator is going to pick for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Random number generator, generate 2. So when no one is watching, is it? Let's go move on to the next pick. I'm so bad at this game. Oh my god. I want you. Come on. Pick number 5 is green. Yay! Okay, good. Good. We have hardcover. That doesn't work. Oh, but yes, it does. The City We Became is officially a review sample, so it is an arc in that regard. So yeah, we had a hardcover, and that's The City We Became. All right, on to pick number 6. Going for another yellow. And we have orange. So another fantasy. We have a few more on the list. So A Friend's 5 stars. Okay, so we have Fires of Heaven. Not sure if I have anybody. It's not that was actually considered really fantasy. I don't know. But the Obelisk Gate, I'm almost sure we have people who have that as a 5 star. Let's double check. I actually don't like going this deep into like who rated this what before I'm reading it. But this series is so hyped in a way, in a part of the bookish community, that I totally think it's a 5 star. So yeah, pick number 7. Let's go with you. You're looking at me like so cute. Like pick me. And we're red, contemporary. Buzzword of the month again, with a contemporary. We have already decided that Against is not. Do we consider the nonfiction that I almost picked for the first one? Do we consider that contemporary, or do we want to stretch that? If I don't find anything on my to read pile, like my 400 books that I physically own and need to read, I think I'm going to stretch and say The Girl with the 7 Names, a North Korean defector story. It's an autobiography, it's a memoir, and it's not like this is like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Nope. So let's count Against. We're not going to make this more complicated than it is. Counting a historical non-fiction is much more of a stretch than counting Against as a directional word. And honestly, I don't even know if it's not. Let me know. Would you have counted Against as a directional word? Let me know. Next pick. Let's try it with this yellow duck. I think the sticker on the bottom is coming loose. Yellow. Out of my comfort zone. I was really hoping not to get a yellow this time. Anything that I would consider yellow on this? Probably not. So we are doing published pre-2000. When was American Psycho published? In 1991. There we go. That was easy, quick, done, and done. Pick number 9. I'm committed to you. Gracie. You are Gracie now. Okay, black. So the black pink one is called Gracie now. Black is sci-fi ethnofuturism. We have, I think that the Broken Earth series is considered sci-fi fantasy. So this one, and then definitely Children of Time. But I don't think that we have anything on here that's very sci-fi-esque. No. That's a new one. I think over the past few months I always had a bunch of sci-fi already on the list of having to read it. But that was probably because I am reading a lot of sci-fi through book clubs. And because I removed all the book clubs for May, I don't have many sci-fi on my list. So this potentially means I have to pick something not from the list. But I'm excited for sci-fi. A new to me author. Have I read anything by Adrian Tchaikovsky? The name feels so familiar, but that's only because I have already seen that name so many times. Alternatively, I really still do want to get to Project Hail Mary, and I have not read anything by Brain Fart, Andy. And I haven't read anything by Andy Weir yet either. So I think that either one is good, and either one is on my list that I really want to get to. Still in this month, so it's not it's on the optional pile, not in the need to, but the optional pile. Both are. So let's do a random number generator again. I think number 1 is Children of Time, and number 2 is Project Hail Mary. Recording and generate 2. So we're going with Project Hail Mary, which is good because I do think it's a 22 and 22 as well. Pick number 10. Orange. And we're going for multiple POVs. That is fantasy galore. So it's definitely Fires of Heaven is following different ones, but I remember picking it for the same prompt, Circus of Wonders, and I'm just going to do that again. Circus of Wonders. Done. Okay, pick number 11. Picking a yellow one, because that's the first one that I saw when I looked at it. It does not want to be picked. Okay, please be black. Sci-fi ethnofuturism. Okay. Cultural background other than my own. Ethnofuturism screams that, so we're picking Parable of the Talents. Getting an old Octavia Butler into my May. That's good. Okay, you have caught my eye. And since this, I think it is pick number 12, you have to be green. Purple. Okay, at least we didn't have that many purple, but we also don't have that many purple. Okay, hardcover. Shoot, okay. We're switching. So the previous one was fantasy, multiple points of view. I picked Circus of Wonder, and I'm switching this to Fires of Heaven because Circus of Wonders also is historical fiction fantasy, and it's a hardcover. So I actually think I don't have a hardcover here that's historical fiction, I think. Okay, please be green. 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 Orange. This is not kind to me. Subscription book box. Okay, so I do have a lot of fantasy books that come from subscription boxes, but obviously not on this pile anymore. Legendborn is on my 22 and 22, and I definitely got that in a subscription box. So here's my beautiful Owl Crate exclusive signed edition that I'm going to be reading in May, hopefully. Let's put it up here. I want you, my dear pink duck, to now give me green. It does! Green! Yes! Okay. It's over. Hardcover. Yeah, that I cannot do. I have to pick again because I literally don't have an arc at this point anymore that is a hardcover. A Friend's 5 stars with an arc. Actually, I think Little Thieves is on my 22 and 22 list, which leads me to believe that the person recommending it to me considers this a 5-star, right? Yeah, Hugo. No, Hugo gave it 4 stars. Damn. Even though Hugo has made this a 4 out of 5 star, he told me to read this as one of my 22 and 22, and thus I consider this a 5-star recommendation. Stretching it. I know, stretching it. We're going with Little Thieves because Hugo. That's all the reason that I'm gonna give you. I hope I'm actually right that it was Hugo putting this on my 22 and 22 list. These all are amazing picks. I really am looking forward to my reading month. This is going to be so much fun. I don't even know what to start with. I need something really quick to get me back into the mood. Probably something contemporary or historical fiction. I don't know. I'll figure that out. But I'm getting hyped about reading again, which is a good thing. Yay. Alright, so this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed my little game. If you did, there's a whole playlist. And make sure to check out my punishments that kind of result out of my super over-ambitious TBRs. And I know you love me having ambitious TBRs, so I can do my punishments. But I also just want to read the books, so that's that. Alright, I hope to see you again on my channel real soon. Until then, bye!
Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here?